What's a hair drug test and what happens when I get one? Hi, my name's Mike and I'm with Health Research Systems. We've been in the drug testing industry for over 28 years and we're doing these short videos so employers can utilize them in a daily safety meeting or settings where time is short in order to still get the information out there about the company's drug-free workplace program. And this is video number 8 in our employer training series. And today we're going to talk about hair drug tests. What some refer to as a hair follicle drug test should be called just a hair drug test, which screens for illicit drug use and the misuse of prescription medication. During this test, a small amount of hair is removed from your head using scissors, and the follicle, which is below the scalp line, is not tested. The sample is then analyzed for signs of drug use during the 90 days preceding the test. It's typically used to test for amphetamines, methamphetamine, ecstasy, marijuana, cocaine, PCP, and opiates. While a urine drug screen can detect if you've used drugs in the last few days, a hair test can detect drug use in the past 90 days. Your workplace may request a hair drug test to screen for illicit drug use before hire or randomly during employment. Some research also indicates that the hair drug testing can be useful for monitoring drug use in at-risk individuals when used alongside self-reporting. So what happens during the test? Your hair test might take place in a lab, a doctor's office, or within a hospital setting, or at your workplace by a collection service technician using a kit that's then shipped to the laboratory. You can also order at-home hair tests online. If your workplace has mandated that you take the test, they'll likely require you to be supervised during the testing process. You can wash your hair, dye your hair, and use styling products without affecting the accuracy of these tests. So after confirming your identifying information, ID, the collector will cut between 100 and 120 hairs from the crown of your head. They can collect the hairs from different spots on your crown to avoid creating a large bald spot. If you have very little or no hair on your head, the collector might use body hair for the test from the leg area or from the chest. The collector will place the hair in a foil and then in a secure envelope to be shipped for overnight testing. So what about understanding your results? A negative result can be determined within 24 hours of hair removal. A screening test is used to determine if the hair sample is negative for drug use. A negative result indicates that you haven't engaged in illicit drug use over the last 90 days. Additional testing is required to confirm a positive result. A positive drug test is confirmed usually within 72 hours. All non-negative tests undergo a second test called gas chromatography mass spectrometry, or GCMS. It confirms a positive test result. This test also identifies the specific drugs used. In some cases, improper collection of the hair specimen, like too few, may result in the test being rejected completely. In this case, the test may be repeated. The laboratory responsible for testing will deliver the results to the MRO, or the medical review officer, in most cases, and though not recommended, sometimes to the individual or organization requesting the test. They'll use confidential means like a secure fax, a phone call, or an online interface to share these test results. Can the test identify the date of drug use? A hair drug test detects a pattern of repeated drug use over the last 90 days. Because hair growth rates vary from person to person, this test can't accurately determine when within the 90-day period were the drugs used. So how accurate is the test? The collection and testing of hair for this test follows a very specific set of standards to increase accuracy. During testing, the collected hair is washed and tested for environmental contamination that could change the results of the test. Your results won't be affected if you wash your hair, dye your hair, or use styling products. To guard against a false positive, laboratories conduct 2 tests. The first, an initial screen, is able to deliver a negative or positive result. The second, the GCMS, is a widely accepted method for confirming a positive result. This second test can also test for specific drugs and can detect as many as 17 different drugs. The GCMS also guards against false positive results caused by foods like poppy seeds or hemp seeds. One 2017 study did find inconsistency between people who self-reported cannabis use and the result of their hair drug test. This may indicate the potential of a false negative. Certain medications may influence the results of the test also. If a doctor has prescribed an opioid, painkiller, and you use them as directed, these drugs will show up on your hair test. In this case, the MRO will likely request you provide documentation of prescriptions. If you believe your hair drug test results are inaccurate, you may immediately request a retest of the same specimen from the MRO. So how much does the test cost? A hair drug test is more expensive than a urine drug test. An at-home kit costs between $65 and $85. Drug tests performed in a hospital or laboratory may cost between $75 and $125. If you're a current employee and your workplace requires you to take a hair test, they're required to pay you for the time spent taking the test. They'll also pay for the test itself. If a drug test is part of pre-employment screening, the employer isn't required to compensate you for your time. Many insurance carriers cover drug tests if it's performed within a hospital or for medical purposes, like an inpatient stay or an emergency room visit. So how about hair tests versus urine tests? The main difference between a hair test and a urine test is the window of detection. A urine test is used to test for drug use over the past 1 to 30 days. A hair test is the only drug test that can detect repeated drug use for up to 90 days prior to the test. This is possible because drugs present in the bloodstream actually become a part of the hair cells as the hair grows. The sweat and sebum present on the scalp may also play a role in drug presence in existing strands of hair. Because of the rate of hair growth, drugs can't be detected in the hair until 5 to 7 days after use. In the case of a workplace accident, a hair test wouldn't be an appropriate test for detecting recent drug use. If you have questions or concerns about your drug test results, reach out to the medical review officer or the MRO. So what's the takeaway? Hair tests can identify drug use up to 90 days prior to the test date, but they aren't good at detecting recent use. That's the reason a lot of employers require both tests and administer them at the same time, thereby gaining the short-term recent use history of a urine test and the long-term look of a hair test. So this is Mike with Health Research Systems, and we offer national drug testing programs and background checks to companies of all sizes. If you have any questions, you can email us at info@healthresearchsystems.com. Hit the like and subscribe button so you'll know when we release the next video in this training series, and thanks for watching.